All right, let's do a quick overview on website analytics. All right, so we're looking at web analytics from Squarespace. Most or all web platforms these days will have some sort of free analytics tool. And to be honest, for most businesses, small businesses, this is really all we need. We don't have to pay an analytics person. We don't really even need to mess with installing Google Analytics. Like this covers 90% of what we need. So this is a small wedding arch slash HUPA rental business in the DC area. So niche. It's a relatively new client. They've only been around for. They just launched maybe 3 months ago. So small numbers here, but let's take a peek. So first we're just looking at visits. So I expect month over month this to be down, right? Rental business is seasonal, especially in the Northeast, in December and January. So, I don't worry too much about seeing declining numbers there on a month over month basis. But the first thing I really want to point out is the bounce rate, right? So bounce rate, we can get a quick definition. Um, Basically, bounce rate is somebody who came into your site, they looked at one page, and then they turned around and left. So for whatever reason, they didn't find what they were looking for, or they weren't that engaged with your site, so they left. That's a bounce. 36% is actually pretty good. Um, I would be concerned if this number was 70, 80%, right? Especially if we're paying for ads. If we're paying for traffic, and most of that traffic just turns around and leaves, it tells us that something's not working, right? That either the website isn't engaging them, or maybe we haven't picked the right keywords, or we just haven't found the right formula for our advertising. So bounce rate is just a great sort of bullshit detector, to figure out, hey, when traffic gets to our site, is it engaging them? Are they sticking around? And the next, unique visitors and visits, right? So I can be one unique visitor, but if I visit your site 3 times, that'd be 3 visits. So there's going to be a difference between that number. Some people are going to come back to the site once or twice. And then page views, if I'm one unique visitor and I visited 5 pages on your site, that's 5 page views. So these are just good kind of top level metrics to know. So next thing I want to point out is devices by visit, right? So this is a pretty typical mix: mobile, desktop, and a little bit of tablet traffic. And I want to point this out because when we think about our website, when we're designing it or redesigning it, when we're building it, we're probably doing it on a laptop. But when it's being consumed by your potential customers, it's most likely coming from, they're doing it on their phone. So, it's really important to realize that crafting this beautiful site that everything looks perfect on a laptop, you know, it's not nearly as important as you think, especially when most of your visits are coming from mobile. So, we want to give people good information that they can easily consume on their phones. So let's drill in a little bit to their traffic sources. So for this client, I'm using these analytics just to learn, in this case, 40% of their traffic comes from paid ads, from Google Ads. So I would say, I would tell my client, hey, right now we rely pretty heavily on Google Ads. So if you're thinking about, your budget for next year, just know that if we were to cut Google Ads, you'd lose 40% of your traffic, right? So that's just a nice framework for, how much do we rely on paying for leads, or, where else does our traffic come from, right? So search, this is SEO, it's almost 20%. That's free, that's great. Social media, I find, is never really a big contributor for rental businesses. That's a tiny fraction. And then referrals, so are other businesses linking to me and sending me traffic? So No major action item here, but it's really important to know, to just be able to glance at this stuff and make decisions and make smarter decisions based on what you're seeing. Again, if this client was 80% paid ads, I would turn around and tell them we rely really, really heavily on Google, right? So if you want to turn the budget down, just understand that the visits and the leads are going to go down as well, right? So this is just using analytics to make better decisions. And there's even more goodies in here we can quickly go through. So um, Squarespace even pulls in some SEO data. So these are the actual search keywords, right? So this client already is getting some decent SEO clicks, right? We can scroll down and see the exact searches that people typed in that made us show up in SEO, and what position we're in, how many impressions. So this is great info. We want to take this info and use it in our Google ads, right? So this is just more data for us to use. And then as a sanity check, geography, right? We can see where visits are coming from. Don't be alarmed, if you see traffic from other countries, other states. We just want to make sure that for the most part, your traffic is coming from the areas where you want it to come from. And we can see the little heat map here. These guys are in DC, so we're on it. The traffic's geographically coming from the right place. So that's just a quick 5 minutes on web analytics. Hopefully, you're checking on your analytics every once in a while, and it'll help you make smarter decisions. So thanks again for watching.